There's so much I want to say. A while ago, I encountered a piece of advice from Werner Herzog. He's a filmmaker and documentarian. It was an excerpt from a book he was releasing at the time, and the gist of it is, go out, live your life, go be a teacher, be a fisherman, experience something, and then when you have something to say, then come back and say it in your art, and say it in your films. And that really resonated with me. So much so, I think, I stopped making things. And I don't know if the advice was the reason that I stopped doing that, but it's certainly something I've been thinking about for quite a while. I've never been one to say anything, really. I've always loved asking questions, sharing my point of view, how I see this world. And then recently I read this book called Art and Fear by David Bales and Ted Orland, and there's this quote here that's stuck with me as well. Let me see if I can find it. Artists don't get down to work until the pain of working is exceeded by the pain of not working. I think we, artists, we suffer from what I like to call inertial stuckness. In other words, we get used to not working on our craft, and then doing our next piece gets harder and harder. And maybe this is what I'm doing, right? Maybe I'm trying to combat that in some way, overcoming my inertial stuckness. That was a weird way to say that, but you get the idea. There's a lot to be said about this subject, about an emerging artist and navigating your 20s and life. But let's just leave the conversation here for today, and let's circle back. That's all I got.